I thought I was marrying for love. Turns out I was just a green card. That's what the immigration officer told me when they slid the divorce papers across the metal table. Ma'am, according to our records, you were never really married. You were just convenient. My hands were shaking so bad I couldn't even hold the papers. 3 years. 3 years of believing I was building a life with someone who loved me. 3 years of cooking his favorite meals, learning his language, defending him to my family when they said something felt off. But we had a ceremony, I whispered. We have photos. You have fraud charges pending. The officer cut me off. And your husband? He's already moved on to wife number 3. That's when I knew I wasn't his first victim. I wouldn't be his last. My name is Sarah and I'm 42 years old. Not exactly the age when you expect to fall head over heels for someone, right? But that's exactly what happened. I'd been divorced for 5 years. My ex-husband left me for his secretary. Real original, I know. I was working as a nurse in Phoenix, living alone in a 2-bedroom house that felt too big and too quiet. My friends kept telling me to get back out there, but honestly, I was done with dating apps and blind dates. Then I met Alexei. It was at a coffee shop downtown. I was grabbing my usual latte before my shift when this guy behind me started speaking. Russian to his phone. Loud, frustrated. I could tell he was lost or confused about something. "Excuse me?" I said when he hung up. "Are you okay?" He turned around, and I swear my heart stopped. Tall, dark hair, these intense green eyes that looked right through me. But what got me wasn't his looks. It was how vulnerable he seemed in that moment. "I am sorry," he said in accented English. "I am trying to find apartment. The address, it is not making sense to me. I should have minded my own business. Should have just wished him luck and walked away. Instead, I found myself saying, 'I can help. You look it up.' That's how it started. Me pulling out my phone, him standing close enough that I could smell his cologne, cedar and something else I couldn't place. 'You are very kind,' he said when I found the address. 'Most Americans, they do not stop to help.' 'Most Americans are idiots,' I said, and he laughed. God, his laugh. It was like music. 'May I buy you coffee?' To say thank you. I was already late. For work. But something about him made me pause. 'I can't right now, but maybe later?' That's when he smiled, and I was gone. Completely gone. 'I would like that very much,' he said. 'I am Alexei, by the way.' 'Sarah. Sarah,' he repeated like he was tasting my name. Beautiful name for beautiful woman. Cheesy? Absolutely. Did it work? Like a charm. We exchanged numbers right there in the coffee shop. He texted me before I even got to work. 'Thank you again for help. I hope we can talk soon.' Alexei, I stared at that text for 10 minutes. When was the last time someone had made me feel like this? When was the last time I'd met someone who seemed genuinely interested in me? Not just what I could do for them. Friend Rebecca noticed something was different the moment I walked into the hospital. "Okay, Spill," she said. "You look like you just won the lottery." "I met someone," I said, trying to play it cool. And nothing. We're just going to have coffee sometime." "Sarah," Rebecca grabbed my arm. "You're glowing. When's the last time you glowed over a guy?" She was right. I was glowing. For the first time in years I felt alive. Alexei called me that night. We talked for 2 hours about everything, his life in Russia, his engineering degree, why he'd moved to America. My job, my divorce, my dreams of traveling someday. "You have beautiful voice," he said. Very soothing, like music. "You're not bad yourself," I said, and he laughed again. "I must see you again soon," he said. "Tomorrow? For dinner?" I should have said I was busy. Should have played hard to get. Instead, I heard myself saying, "I'd love that." After we hung up, I sat on my couch, staring at the phone. Rebecca was right. I was glowing. And for the first time in 5 years, I let myself believe that maybe, just maybe, I deserved to be happy again. Our first date was magical. I mean, straight out of a movie magical. Alexei picked me up in a beat-up Honda Civic that he apologized for about 15 times. "Is not fancy car," he said, opening my door. "But it gets me where I need to go." "It's perfect," I told him, and meant it. After my ex-husband's obsession with status symbols, Alexei's humility was refreshing. He took me to this little Italian place I'd never heard of. Family-owned checkered tablecloths, candles in wine bottles, the whole deal. How did you find this place? I asked. My friend Victor, he told me. He says food is like his babushka makes. The owner came over personally to recommend wine. Alexei spoke to him in broken Italian, making hand gestures that had me laughing so hard I snorted wine. You are laughing at me? He asked, pretending to be offended. I'm laughing with you, I said. There's a difference. Good, I like woman who laughs. My mother, she always says life is too short not to laugh. Your mother sounds smart. His face got serious. She was. She died 2 years ago. Cancer. I'm so sorry. Is why I come to America, he said quietly. Nothing left for me in Russia. I think maybe here I can start new life. The way he looked at me when he said that, like maybe I was part of that new life. My heart literally skipped a beat. We dated for 3 months before he said the L word. We were watching a movie at my place, some stupid rom-com I'd picked. I was curled up against his chest, feeling safer than I had in years. Sarah, he said during a quiet scene. I love you. I sat up and looked at him. His eyes were completely serious. I love you too, I whispered, and I meant it. God help me. I meant it completely. He kissed me then, slow and soft and perfect. When we broke apart, he rested his forehead against mine. I want to be with you always, he said. You make me feel, what is word? Complete. Complete, I repeated. You make me feel complete too. 6 months later, he proposed. It wasn't fancy. We were making dinner together. He was teaching me to make borscht, which was a disaster because I can barely boil water. I was laughing at something he'd said when I turned around, and there he was, on one knee in my kitchen. Sarah Michelle. Johnson, he said, holding up a ring. Not a big diamond, not expensive, but beautiful in its simplicity. Will you marry me? I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. After everything I'd been through, after convincing myself I'd never find love again, here was this amazing man asking me to be his wife. Yes, I whispered. Then louder. Yes, yes, of course. He slipped the ring on my finger with shaking hands. It fit perfectly. How did you know my size? I asked. I take one of your rings to jeweler, he said, grinning. Very sneaky, yes? Very sneaky, I agreed and kissed him. That night, we called everyone. My sister cried. My dad, who never liked any of my boyfriends, actually seemed happy. Alexei called his cousin in Moscow, speaking rapid Russian that I couldn't follow but sounded joyful. What did you tell him? I asked when he hung up. I tell him I find most beautiful, most kind woman in world, and she say yes to marry me. You're such a charmer, I said, but I was beaming. Only for you, he said, pulling me close. Only for you. Later that night, after we'd celebrated with champagne and made love twice, I lay in his arms staring at my ring in the moonlight. Alexei? Yes, my love. Are you sure about this? I mean, we haven't been together very long and... He pressed a finger to my lips. Sarah, I have been sure since our first date. You are my person, my future, everything. But what about your visa situation? Won't being married help with... Shh, he said, kissing my forehead. Is not about visa, is about love, is about you and me together forever. I wanted to believe him. I did believe him. When you're in love, you believe what you need to believe. Forever, I repeated. Forever, he promised. If only I'd known how short forever could be. Planning our wedding was like living in a fairy tale. At least, that's what I thought at the time. Small ceremony, Alexei said when we started talking details. Just close friends, family, simple. That sounds perfect, I agreed. After my first wedding, which was a 300-person circus that ended in divorce, simple sounded like heaven. We set the date for 6 months away. October 15th. Perfect timing, I told Rebecca. Fall colors, not too hot, not too cold. You're glowing again, she said. I haven't seen you this happy since, well, ever. She was right, I was walking on air. Every morning I woke up and looked at my ring and couldn't believe this was my life. But planning a wedding with someone from another country came with complications I hadn't expected. We need to get married sooner, Alexei said one night in July. We were addressing invitations at my kitchen table. Sooner? The venue's already booked, the flowers are ordered, everything's set. I know, but... He ran his hands through his hair. My visa situation, it is becoming complicated. What do you mean complicated? My work visa, it expires soon. If we are married, then I can apply for permanent residency. But if we wait until October... He trailed off, looking genuinely worried. How soon? I asked. Next month? August? My heart sank. Alexei, that's only 4 weeks away. The venue won't have availability. The photographer... We can do courthouse, he said quickly. Small ceremony like we planned, then maybe party later when visa is sorted. I stared at the invitation in my hands. Sarah Johnson. And Alexei Volkov request your presence. You're sure this is just about the visa timing? I asked. Not about us. He reached across the table and took my hands. Sarah, my love, I would marry you tomorrow if possible. Tonight even. The visa, it is just practical matter. But my feelings for you... He brought my hands to his lips. My feelings are forever. Okay, I said. Courthouse it is. Really? Really? As long as I'm marrying you, I don't care where we do it. He came around the table and kissed me so hard I forgot all about the fancy wedding I'd been planning. But as August approached, I started noticing things. Little things that probably should have been red flags, like how he never wanted to meet my family. Every time I suggested introducing him to my sister or my dad, he had an excuse. After wedding, he'd say, when visa stress is gone, then I can properly meet family. Or how he was always on his phone texting in Russian. When I asked who he was talking to, he'd say cousin or friend and change the subject. You're being paranoid, I told myself. He's stressed about immigration stuff. Of course he's distracted. The night before our wedding, we had dinner at the same Italian place where we'd had our first date. Tomorrow, he said, raising his wine glass. Tomorrow we become husband and wife. Tomorrow, I agreed, clinking my glass against his. But something in his eyes looked distant, like he was thinking about something else entirely. Are you nervous? I asked. Nervous? About tomorrow, about getting married? Of course not, he said, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. Why would I be nervous? I don't know. It's a big step, big change. Change is good, he said. Change is necessary. The way he said it made me feel cold, but I pushed the feeling away. Pre-wedding jitters, that's all. That night, he stayed at his apartment. Traditional, he said. Groom should not see bride before wedding. I lay in bed alone, staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow I'd be Mrs. Volkov. Tomorrow I'd start a new life with the man I loved. So why did I feel like I was making a mistake? My phone buzzed. A text from Alexei. Cannot wait to marry you tomorrow. You are everything to me. I smiled and typed back. I love you too. See you at the altar. But as I put my phone down, I noticed something strange. The timestamp on his text was wrong. It showed 3 a.m., but it was only 11 p.m. I checked the message again. The timestamp was normal now. Must have been a glitch. I closed my eyes and tried to sleep, but something was nagging at me, something I couldn't quite put my finger on. Tomorrow, I told myself. Tomorrow, everything would be perfect. I had no idea how wrong I was. The courthouse. Wedding was weird. That's the only word for it. Weird. Don't get me wrong. The ceremony itself was beautiful. Judge Martinez was lovely. Alexei looked handsome in his only suit, and I wore my grandmother's pearl necklace for something old. Rebecca came as our witness, along with Alexei's friend Victor. But something felt off. Do you, Alexei Volkov, take Sarah to be your lawfully wedded wife? I do, he said, but his voice was flat, mechanical. Do you, Sarah Johnson, take Alexei to be your lawfully wedded husband? I do, I said, meaning it with every fiber of my being. When Judge Martinez said, you may kiss the bride, Alexei's kiss was quick, perfunctory, like he was checking off a box. Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Volkov, the judge said, shaking our hands. Mrs. Volkov, I was Mrs. Volkov. So why didn't I feel happy? Pictures, Rebecca said, pulling out her phone. "We need pictures." We took photos on the courthouse steps. In every single one, I'm beaming. Alexei looks like he's at a business meeting. "You okay?" I whispered to him during one shot. "Of course," he said, pulling me closer. "Perfect day." But his hand on my waist felt cold. The reception was just the four of us at a nice restaurant. Victor kept making toasts in Russian that made Alexei laugh. But when I asked for translations, they were always something generic, like health and happiness. "What did he really say?" I asked Rebecca when the guys went to the bathroom. "I don't speak Russian, but it didn't sound like health and happiness," she said. "It sounded more like, I don't know, business talk?" Business talk? Just the tone. Very formal, practical. When we got home that night, our first night as husband and wife, Alexei was on his phone again. "Who are you texting?" I asked, changing out of my wedding dress. "Victor. He wants to know about green card application process." "Victor's getting married too?" Alexei paused. "Maybe. Sometime." "To who?" "American woman he met." Something about the way he said it made my skin crawl, but I couldn't put my finger on why. The next few weeks were strange. Alexei threw himself into the immigration paperwork with an intensity that bordered on obsession. "We need photos," he said one morning. "Lots of photos. To prove marriage is real." "Of course it's real," I said. "We're married?" "Yes, but immigration, they are suspicious. We need evidence, evidence. Like our marriage was a crime scene." He started insisting we take pictures everywhere. At the grocery store, at restaurants, watching TV on the couch. Always with his arm around me, both of us smiling at the camera. "This is ridiculous," I said, after he made me pose in front of our mailbox. "We look like tourists in our own life." "Is necessary," he said, scrolling through the photos. "This one is good. You look happy." "I am happy, aren't you?" He looked at me then, really looked at me, and for a second his mask slipped. I saw something in his eyes that looked almost like guilt. "Of course I am happy," he said quickly. "You are a wonderful wife." But he didn't say he loved me. He used to say he loved me all the time. Now it was always, "You are wonderful," or "You are a good woman." The night that changed everything was in September. Alexei was in the shower when his phone rang. Without thinking, I picked it up. "Hello? Alexei?" A woman's voice, heavily accented. "Russian." "No, this is his wife. Can I take a message?" Silence. Then, "Wife?" "Yes. Who is this?" "I am friend. From Russia. I call back later." She hung up. When Alexei came out of the bathroom, I was holding his phone. "Someone called for you. A woman. From Russia." She seemed surprised when I said I was your wife. His face went white. "What woman?" "She didn't give her name, said she was a friend. Probably cousin Masha. She forgets about time difference." She didn't sound like she forgot anything. She sounded shocked. "Sarah, please." He took the phone from my hands. "Russian women, they are dramatic. Everything is shock, everything is surprise." I wanted to believe him. I tried to believe him. But that night, I lay awake listening to him breathe and wondering who the woman was, and why she'd sounded so shocked that Alexei had a wife. The email arrived on a Tuesday morning in October. I was getting ready for work when I heard Alexei's phone ping from the kitchen table. He was in the shower, so I didn't think much of it. But the preview showed an email in Russian with what looked like a woman's name in the sender field. Katerina something. I shouldn't have looked. I know that. But something inside me was screaming that I needed to see what it said. I grabbed his phone and opened it. The email was in Russian, but I could see attachments, photos. My hands were shaking. As I opened the first one, it was Alexei, in a wedding tuxedo, kissing a beautiful blonde woman in a white dress. My legs gave out. I sat down hard on the kitchen chair, staring at the phone. There were more photos. Alexei and the blonde woman at what looked like a fancy restaurant, at the beach in bed together. The timestamp showed they were taken last month. 3 weeks after our wedding, I was going to throw up. "Sarah, what are you doing?" I looked up. Alexei stood in the doorway, towel around his waist, water dripping from his hair. "Who is Katerina?" I asked, holding up his phone. His face went through. About 5 different emotions in 2 seconds. Surprise, fear, anger, calculation. Then back to fake confusion. I don't know what you mean. The email, Alexei. The photos. You in a tux kissing another woman. 3 weeks ago. He moved toward me slowly like I was a wild animal he was trying not to spook. Sarah, let me explain. Explain what? Explain how you married me and then immediately flew to… Where is this? Russia. To marry someone else? Is not what it looks like. I laughed, but it came out like a sob. It looks like you're a bigamist. It looks like I'm not your only wife. You are only wife that matters, he said, and the words hit me like a physical blow. Only wife that matters? So there are others? Sarah, please, sit down. Let me explain everything. No. I stood up, my whole body shaking. No. You don't get… to explain. You don't get to make this okay with words. I started scrolling through more of his messages. There were dozens of emails from different women. Photos, conversations, what looked like negotiations. Oh my God, I whispered. Oh my God, what are you? I am your husband, he said desperately. Whatever else, I am your husband. Whose husband are you today? I screamed. Mine, Katerina's, how many others are there? He lunged for the phone, but I pulled it away. Tell me the truth, I said. Right now, all of it, or I'm calling the police. He stared at me for a long moment. Then his shoulders sagged, and I saw him make a decision. Okay, he said quietly. Okay, I tell you everything. Start talking. I come to America with no money, no job, visa running out. I meet Victor. He tells me about business opportunity. Business opportunity. Marriage business. American women who want husband. Foreign men who need green card. Everyone wins. The room was spinning. Everyone wins. Women get husband who treats them nice. Men get legal status. Is not so bad. Not so bad? I could barely breathe. You married me for a green card. You never loved me. I did love you, he said quickly. Sarah, I swear with you it was different. You were supposed to be quick marriage, divorce after green card comes through. But then I meet you, and you are so kind, so beautiful. I fall in love for real. But you married Katerina anyway. His silence was answer enough. How many others? I asked. Does not matter. How many? Including you. 4. 4 wives. I was one of 4 wives. The first 2, they find out, they divorce me. Is fine. I still get green card eventually. But you… He stepped closer. You I want to keep. Keep me? I backed away from him. Like a pet. Like wife. Real wife. Sarah, you must understand. This started as business, but with you, it became real. Nothing about this is real, I screamed. Nothing. Our whole relationship is a lie. No, not lie. My feelings for you, they are real, most real thing in my life. I looked at this man I'd married, this man I'd loved, this man I'd trusted with my heart and my future, and I didn't recognize him. Get out, I whispered. Sarah, get out of my house, now. Please, let me explain more. Let me make this right. There is no making this right. There is no fixing this. You destroyed everything. He stood there for a moment, still dripping wet, looking like he wanted to say something else. Then he turned and walked to the bedroom. I sat at the kitchen table, holding his phone, scrolling through evidence of my own stupidity. Photos of him with women whose names I couldn't pronounce. Messages in Russian that I couldn't read but could guess the meaning of. When he came back out, dressed and carrying a small bag, he stopped at the door. Sarah, I know you hate me now, but I want you to know. What I felt for you was real. Is still real. I didn't look up from the phone. I hope someday you can forgive me. The door closed behind him and I was alone. Mrs. Volkov. What a joke. I wasn't Mrs. Volkov. I was just another mark in Alexei's green card scam. I was still sitting there when Rebecca found me 2 hours later, having missed work and ignored dozens of calls. Sarah, what happened? You look like… I held up the phone and showed her the photos. Oh, honey, she whispered. Oh, Sarah. That's when I finally started crying. 3 days later, Alexei came back. I was in my pajamas at 2 in the afternoon, eating ice cream directly from the container and watching terrible reality TV. I hadn't showered, hadn't gone to work, hadn't answered my phone. Rebecca had been checking on me, but mostly I just wanted to disappear. The doorbell rang. I ignored it. It rang again. And again. Sarah, I know you are there. Please, we need to talk. His voice through the door made my chest tight. Part of me wanted to run to him to let him explain everything away. The other part wanted to set his belongings on fire. Go away, Alexei. I cannot. We are married. We need to figure this out. We're not married, I called back. Married people don't lie to each other. Married people don't have 3 other spouses. Please open door. Neighbors are watching. Of course he was worried about appearances. Everything with him was about appearances. I opened the door but kept the chain lock on. What do you want? He looked terrible, unshaven, wearing the same clothes from 3 days ago, dark circles under his eyes. I want to fix this. I want to fix us. There is no us. There never was an us. There was me being an idiot and you running a con. Is not con. My feelings for you. Stop. I held up my hand. Just stop with the feelings talk. You don't get to use that anymore. Sarah, please. Let me in. Let me explain. Properly. Against my better judgment, because I'm apparently excellent at bad decisions, I closed the door, undid the chain, and opened it again. He stepped inside and looked around. The living room was a disaster. Pizza boxes, tissues, empty wine bottles. You are not taking care of yourself, he said softly. Yeah, well, finding out your husband is married to 3 other women will do that to you. He winced. Sit down, please. Let me tell you whole story. I don't want to hear your story. You need to hear it because it explains everything. I crossed my arms but didn't sit down. Fine. Talk. I come to America with student visa. Engineering program at ASU. But program is hard. My English is not so good. I fail classes, lose visa. So you decided to commit immigration fraud. I decide to survive Victor. He knows others who do this. He says is easy money, easy solution. Find American woman who wants husband, marry her, get green card, everyone happy. Except for the American women who think they're actually loved. First 2 women they know, he said quickly. Is arrangement. They want company, I need papers, fair trade. And the 3rd woman, Katerina? His face fell. Katerina, she does not know. Just like me. Just like you. But Sarah, you must understand, by time I meet you, I was trying to get out. This thing with Katerina, it happened because I owe money to wrong people. What people? People who arrange marriages. They want their cut. When I tell them I want to stop, they say I owe them for all expenses. Plane tickets, hotels, everything. So you married Katerina to pay them back. I married Katerina because they threatened to expose everything, including you, including our marriage. I stared at him. Are you telling me you married another woman to protect me? I marry her to protect us. If immigration finds out about first 2 wives, our marriage looks fake too. You get in trouble for fraud, I get deported. Our marriage is fake, no. He stepped toward me. Sarah, that is what I'm trying to tell you. When I meet you, everything changes. You are not business arrangement. You are real. You are woman. I actually love... But you married Katerina anyway. 3 weeks after our wedding, these people, they come to me. They say Katerina pays them $50,000 to find American husband. If I do not marry her, they lose money. They make me lose you. $50,000? Rich Russian girl. Daddy wants her to have American citizenship. She pays, they deliver. I sat down hard on the couch. So you're telling me that you're a professional husband. I am telling you that I was professional. Husband, until I meet you. But you still married Katerina. After marrying me, while married to me. To protect you. To protect me, or to protect yourself? He was quiet for a long moment. Both, he said finally. To protect both of us. Jesus, Alexei. I put my head in my hands. Do you even hear yourself? Do you understand how insane this all sounds? I understand it sounds crazy. But Sarah, you must believe me. What I feel for you is real. More real than anything in my life. You have a funny way of showing it. I am trying to fix it, Katerina. She is already suspicious. She knows something is wrong. Soon she will find out about you, and then what? And then she will call. Immigration. And we are both in trouble. I looked at this man I'd married, this man I'd loved, this man who was apparently worried about his 4th wife finding out about me. What do you want from me, Alexei? I want to divorce Katerina. I want to be honest with immigration about everything. I want to make this right. And what about your green card? I will figure something out. Maybe I get deported. Maybe I do not. But I cannot live like this anymore. I cannot lie to you anymore. You've been lying to me since the day we met. Not about my feelings. Never about my feelings. I stood up and walked to the window. Outside, my neighbors were living their normal lives, going to work, walking their dogs, not dealing with immigration fraud and bigamy. What do you expect me to say? I asked without turning around. I expect you to hate me. I expect you to divorce me. I expect you to never want to see me again. Then why are you here? Because I love you, and because you deserve to know truth before you make decision. I turned to face him. The truth? The truth is that everything between us was built on lies. The truth is that I don't know who you really are. The truth is that even if you divorce Katerina and confess everything to immigration, I will never be able to trust you again. He nodded slowly. I know. The truth is that you broke my heart, Alexei. You broke it completely. I know, he whispered. And the truth is that I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. He closed his eyes. I know. And the truth is that I loved you. I really, truly loved you. And that's the part that hurts the most. When he opened his eyes, they were wet. I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm so sorry. I know you are, but sorry doesn't fix this. He stood up and walked to the door. With his hand on the knob, he turned back. For what it is worth, these past months with you, they were happiest of my life. Were they real? I asked. The dinners, the conversations, the way you held me at night. Was any of it real? All of it. Every single moment. After he left, I sat on my couch and cried until I had no tears left, because the worst part wasn't that he'd lied to me. The worst part was that I still loved him. The immigration officers showed up at my door on a Thursday morning in November. I was getting ready for work. I'd finally gone back after taking a week off to file divorce papers and figure out my life. I heard the knock and thought it was Rebecca with coffee and sympathy, like she'd been doing every morning. Instead, I opened the door to two serious-looking people in dark suits. Sarah Volkov? It's Johnson now, I said automatically. I'm getting divorced. Ma'am, I'm Agent Martinez with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. This is Agent Chen. We need to ask you some questions about your marriage to Alexei Volkov. My knees went weak. Can I see some ID? They showed me their badges. Official-looking and terrifying. May we come in? I didn't really have a choice, did I? They sat on my couch. The same couch where Alexei had proposed to me, where we'd planned our future, where I'd confronted him about his other wives, Mrs. Volkov or Johnson, I corrected again. Ms. Johnson, we're investigating your husband for immigration fraud. We understand you filed for divorce. Yes, I said, my mouth dry. Last month, Agent Martinez pulled out a tablet. Can you tell us about the circumstances of your marriage? What do you mean? How did you meet Mr. Volkov? How long did you date before marriage? What was the nature of your relationship? I looked between them. Am I in trouble? That depends, Agent Chen said. Were you aware that Mr. Volkov was married to other women at the time of your wedding? No. I found out after. How did you find out? I told them about the email, the photos, the confrontation. Agent Martinez took notes while Agent Chen watched my face like he was looking for lies. Did Mr. Volkov ever offer you money for the marriage? Agent Martinez asked. Money? No, I paid for half the wedding myself. Did he ever discuss immigration benefits as a reason for marriage? I thought about our rushed courthouse wedding, his visa concerns. He mentioned that being married would help with his immigration status, but he said it wasn't the reason for marriage. But it was a factor? I thought it was just practical, like filing taxes jointly. I didn't think... You didn't think what? I didn't think I was part of a criminal enterprise. Agent Chen leaned forward. Ms. Johnson, we have evidence that Mr. Volkov has contracted marriages with at least 5 American women over the past 3 years. 5? My voice cracked. He told me 4. So he did admit to multiple marriages? Yes, but he said what he felt for me was different. Real. Agent Martinez and Agent Chen exchanged a look. Ms. Johnson, we've interviewed the other wives. 3 of them said the exact same thing. The room tilted. What? that he told them their relationship was different, real, that he loved them unlike the others. I was going to be sick. According to our investigation, Mr. Volkov received payment from at least 2 of the women for marriage services. The others appear to have been genuine victims of fraud. What kind of payment? Various forms: money, housing, vehicles, credit cards. In your case, we show you added him to your mortgage and credit cards within a month of marriage. He needed to establish credit history. I was helping him. Did he make payments on these accounts? I thought about the mortgage payments I'd been making alone, the credit card bills that had mysteriously increased since our marriage. Some, I lied. Miss Johnson, we need you to be completely honest with us. Your cooperation could be the difference between being charged as an accomplice or being classified as a victim. Charged? You think I knew about this? We think you were used, Agent Chen said, not unkindly, but we need to prove it. They asked me more questions about our daily life, our conversations, whether I'd suspected anything. I answered as honestly as I could, but every question made me feel more stupid. Had I noticed he never talked about his family? Yes, but he said it was painful. Had I thought it was strange that he didn't want to meet my family? Yes, but I thought he was shy. Had I wondered why he was always on his phone? Yes, but I trusted him. What a joke. Where is he now? Agent Martinez asked. I don't know. He moved out after I confronted him. I haven't seen him since. He hasn't tried to contact you. He's called a few times. I don't answer. If he does contact you, we need you to call us immediately. Agent Chen handed me a business card. Do not meet with him alone. Do not let him into your house. Is he dangerous? He's desperate, and desperate people do unpredictable things. After they left, I sat in my kitchen and stared at the business card. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely read it. My phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Sarah, is me. Please do not hang up, Alexei. His voice made my chest tight. I can't talk to you. The police were just here. I know, they arrested me yesterday. They arrested you? They let me out on bail. Sarah, I need to see you. I need to explain. The agents told me everything about the 5 wives, about the money, about how you told all of us the same lies. Silence. Sarah, please, they told me you said I was different to all of them, that you loved me differently. Did you practice that speech, Alexei? Did you perfect it on the other women before you? Used it on me? You are different. You have to believe me. I don't have to believe anything from you ever again. Immigration? They are trying to deport me. If they do, I will never see you again. Good. Sarah, I hung up. But even as I blocked his number, even as I threw away the photos from our wedding, even as I hired a lawyer to protect me from fraud charges, part of me was crying for the man I'd thought I married, the man who never really existed. 2 weeks later, Rebecca showed me the news article on her phone. Russian national deported in marriage fraud scheme, the headline read. There was a photo of Alexei being escorted onto a plane in handcuffs. Are you okay? Rebecca asked. I stared at the photo. Even in handcuffs, even being deported, he was still handsome, still looked like the man who'd made me believe in love again. I'm fine, I said. But I wasn't fine. I wouldn't be fine for a long time, because somewhere in my heart, despite everything, I was mourning the loss of the man I'd thought I married, even though he'd never been real at all. 6 months after Alexei's deportation, I was still a mess. Not the crying every day kind of mess I'd been right after I found out about his other wives. This was a different kind of mess. A numb, going through the motions, what's the point kind of mess. I went to work, I came home, I watched Netflix, I ordered takeout. I avoided my family's concerned phone calls and Rebecca's attempts to drag me out of the house. You can't live like this forever, Rebecca said one Saturday morning when she let herself in with the spare key I'd forgotten she had. Watch me, I said from the couch, where I was having breakfast cereal for lunch. Sarah, it's been 6 months. 6 months since he was deported, 9 months since you found out the truth. You need to start living again. I am living. This isn't living, this is existing. She was right, but I didn't want to admit it. What do you want me to do? Date? I married a man who was married to 4 other women. My judgment is clearly garbage. Your judgment was fine. He was a professional liar. I should have known. How? How could you have known? I didn't have an answer for that. I'd asked myself the same question a million times. The FBI lady said I was a victim, I said. But I feel like an idiot. You can be both. Rebecca sat down next to me and took the cereal bowl out of my hands. Look at me, she said. What happened to you was not your fault. You fell in love with someone who lied to you professionally. That doesn't make you stupid. That makes you human. I added him to my mortgage, Rebecca. I gave him access to my credit cards. I was planning to have his babies. Because you loved him. Because you're a good person who trusts people. Well, I'm never trusting anyone again. That's exactly what he wins if you do that. I looked at her. What do you mean? If you shut yourself off from love forever, then he didn't just lie to you. He broke you. Is that what you want? To let him win? I don't care about winning or losing. I just want to not hurt anymore. The only way to stop hurting is to heal, and you can't heal if you don't try. That afternoon, for the first time in months, I took a shower, put on real clothes, and went for a walk around my neighborhood. It was a beautiful spring day. Flowers, blooming, kids playing in yards, couples walking dogs. Normal life happening all around me. I sat on a bench at the park and watched families playing on the playground. A year ago, I'd imagined bringing my future children here. Teaching them to swing, pushing them down the slide, Alexei cheering them on from the sidelines. None of that would ever happen now. But maybe someday something else could happen. Something real. When I got home, I called my sister. Sarah? She sounded shocked. Are you okay? No, I said, but I want to be. What can I do? Can you come visit? I think I need family right now. She was on a plane the next day. Having my sister there helped more than I'd expected. She didn't try to fix me or give me advice. She just existed in my space, making meals, watching terrible movies, being present. You know what the worst part is? I told her one night. We were sitting on my back porch drinking wine and watching the sunset. What? I still love him. Even knowing what he did, even knowing he lied about everything, there's still a part of me that loves the man I thought he was. That's normal, she said. You didn't love Alexei the criminal. You loved Alexei the character he created for you. That man was lovable, even if he didn't really exist. So how do I stop loving someone who never existed? You don't stop loving him. You learn to love someone who does exist. Who? Yourself, for starters. I looked at her. Myself? When's the last time you did something nice for yourself? When's the last time you treated yourself the way you'd treat someone you love? I couldn't remember. You spent 9 months taking care of someone who was using you. Maybe it's time to take care of someone who deserves it. The next day, I made an appointment with a therapist. Dr. Williams was a kind woman in her 50s who didn't judge me for falling for a marriage scammer or for still having complicated feelings about it. Trauma doesn't follow a timeline, she told me in our first session. Healing isn't linear. You're going to have good days and bad days, and that's okay. When will I feel normal again? What's normal? The person you were before you met Alexei. You'll never be that person again. But you can become someone stronger. I don't feel stronger. I feel broken. Broken things can heal, and sometimes they heal stronger than they were before. Over the next few months, I slowly started putting my life back together. I joined a support group for victims of romance scams. I learned I wasn't alone, that thousands of people every year fall for elaborate lies told by professional con artists. The thing about sociopaths, another group member told me, is that they're really good at what they do. That's why they keep doing it. I started exercising again. Just walks at first, then yoga classes, then hiking on weekends. Moving my body helped quiet my mind. I redecorated my house, getting rid of everything that reminded me of Alexei. New paint, new furniture, new life. I even started dating my own interests again. I took a photography class, learned to cook Thai food, read books that had nothing to do with romance, and slowly, very slowly, I started to remember who I was before. I became Mrs. Volkov. I was Sarah Johnson. I was a good nurse, a loyal friend, a loving sister. I was someone who deserved honesty and respect and real love. I was someone worth loving. It took almost a year, but I finally started to believe it. 2 years after Alexei's deportation, I was at a bookstore coffee shop when someone sat down at the table next to me. "Excuse me," he said. "I'm sorry to bother you, but is that the new Tana French novel?" I looked up from my book. He was maybe my age, graying hair, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses, wedding ring tan line but no ring. "It is," I said. "Have you read her other books?" "All of them. I'm a bit obsessed." "Same. This one's really good so far. Mind if I ask where you are in it? I'm dying to talk to someone about the ending, but I don't want to spoil anything. We ended up talking for an hour. About books, about life, about everything and nothing." His name was David. He was a teacher, recently divorced, had 2 teenage kids he saw on weekends. "This is probably forward of me," he said when I finally had to leave for work. "But would you like to have dinner sometime? Somewhere we can talk about books without annoying other customers." 2 years ago, I would have said yes immediately. A year ago, I would have said no automatically. But that day, I looked at this man who seemed genuinely interested in my thoughts about Irish crime, novels, and I made a decision. "I'd like that," I said. "But I have to tell you something first." "Okay. I'm recently out of a really bad situation. I'm not sure I'm ready for anything serious." "What kind of bad situation?" I took a breath. "Marriage fraud. My ex-husband married me for a green card, along with several other women." David blinked. "Wow. Yeah, so I'm kind of gun-shy about trusting people right now. That's completely understandable. You still want to have dinner?" "More than before, actually." "Why?" "Because you were honest with me, right up front. That tells me a lot about who you are." We had dinner the following Friday, at a small Italian place that wasn't the one where Alexei had taken me on our first date. David was funny, smart, and refreshingly straightforward. "So," he said over dessert, "tell me about the marriage fraud thing, if you want to." Most people either avoided the topic entirely or asked intrusive questions. David just gave me space to share what I wanted to share. "I thought I was in love," I said. "Turns out I was just convenient." "How long were you married?" "Officially about 8 months, but I only had 3 months of thinking it was real." "I'm sorry that happened to you." "Thank you. How long were you married?" 15 years. She left me for her yoga instructor." "I'm sorry that happened to you." "Thank you." We smiled at each other across the table. "We're quite a pair, aren't we?" he said. "Couple of walking wounded." "Maybe. Or maybe we're just people who believed in love and got hurt. Doesn't mean we stopped believing." I looked at this man who'd been betrayed by someone he'd trusted for 15 years and who still seemed open to connection. "Do you really believe that?" I asked. "I have to. The alternative is giving up on one of the best parts of being human." We dated slowly, very slowly. David never pushed, never pressured, never made me feel like I had to be over my past trauma on his timeline. When I had panic attacks about trusting him, he was patient. When I needed space, he gave it. When I was ready to talk about what Alexei had done to me, he listened without judgment. "Can I ask you something?" I said one night about 3 months into dating. We were watching a movie at his place, my head on his shoulder. "Anything. How do you know I'm not scamming you somehow?" He was quiet for a moment. "I don't, I guess. Not for certain. But I know you well enough now to trust my judgment. And my judgment says you're exactly who you seem to be. What if you're wrong? Then I'm wrong. But I'd rather be wrong about trusting someone good than right about not trusting someone who deserved it." 6 months after our first date, he told me he loved me. We were hiking, something I'd started doing during my healing process and had gotten him into. We'd reached the top of a mountain, looking out over the valley below. "Sarah," he said. "Yeah?" "I love you." My heart stopped. Not in the breathless fairy tale way it had with Alexei. This was different, steadier, more real. "I love you too," I said, and meant it. But I also meant something else. I love you, and I know who you are. I love you, and you know who I am. I love you, and neither of us is pretending to be someone else. That night we made love for the first time. It was nothing like it had been with Alexei. No desperate passion, no feeling like I was drowning in someone else's intensity. This was like coming home. A year later, David proposed, not with a big dramatic gesture, not with desperation or urgency, just with love and a simple question: while we were making breakfast together on a Sunday morning. Sarah? Hmm? I was flipping pancakes wearing his old t-shirt. Will you marry me? I turned around. He was holding a simple diamond ring. Not huge, not flashy, just beautiful. Are you sure? I asked. I've never been more sure of anything, even knowing my history, even knowing I might always be a little broken. We're all a little broken, he said. That's what makes us human. I looked at this man who'd seen me at my worst, who knew all my damage, who loved me anyway. Yes, I said. Yes, I'll marry you. This time I knew exactly who I was marrying. We had a small ceremony in his backyard, surrounded by people who actually knew us and loved us. My sister was my maid of honor. His best friend from college was his best man. His kids, who'd become like family to me, walked me down the aisle. When the officiant asked if anyone had any objections, I held my breath for half a second. Old trauma, expecting someone to show up and reveal that this too was fake. But no one objected, because this wasn't fake. Do you, Sarah, take David to be your husband? I do, I said, looking into his eyes and seeing only truth. Do you, David, take Sarah to be your wife? I do, he said, and I believed him. When we kissed, it felt like beginning again. At the reception, Rebecca gave a toast. I've known Sarah for 10 years, she said. I've seen her at her highest highs and her lowest lows, and I can tell you that the woman standing here today is stronger than the one who got her heart broken 3 years ago. Not because she got